I'm Paula Christine, and welcome to Beyond the Paycheck. Living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to make ends meet really sucks. What if you could take control of your money and have the life you dreamed about? I know you're saying, yeah, right. But it can happen with knowledge and commitment. That is my goal, to provide you with the knowledge to take control of your money. It's up to you to make the commitment. So I was talking to my son yesterday, and we were talking about buying a house. I'm like, well, what kind of questions would you have if you were to sit down with a realtor and inquire about how to buy a house? So I jotted all those questions down, and I've asked my friend Barb Biskner from Synergy Realty Group to answer those questions for us. Welcome, Barb. First question he had is, what does a realtor do for me?
Well, a realtor is really your facilitator. And I think that the public views realtors as just walking in and out of houses, showing houses, selling houses, buying houses. Actually, the role of the realtor is to negotiate for either the buyer or the seller and to facilitate all those practices, the loan process, to connect the buyer and the professionals that they're going to need to help them, if it be a home inspector, a loan officer, the title companies, to connect all the moving parts and to make it as stress-free as possible. It is a stressful operation, at least, and there are always two sides to every transaction, most always. So we're always concerned with trying to be as accommodating to all parties as we can and still work within time constraints. Realtors are resourceful. We usually find a way around obstacles.
That's great. I mean, because it is stressful to buy a house or even to sell one. But how do I choose my realtor? I know you're my realtor, but if I didn't know one, how would I choose one?
I would think that a large majority of people do choose a realtor by referral from a friend, relative, coworker, acquaintance. And then, of course, everybody with media these days, we are asking our clients to do testimonials, written or on social media. And of course, you can Google everybody these days. You can see how much business they're doing, what areas they're most proficient at.
I would believe too, referral is probably the number one way to find a realtor. But do you find, like, if you're, let's say, living in one area and then you're moving to someplace, say, 50 miles away, would it be better to find a realtor that knew that area than to use maybe someone that's where you're at currently?
Absolutely. As realtors, we love our clients and we appreciate the loyalty when they come back to us. But when I have a client, you, for instance, you move to a different geographical area, that's not where I'm best at. We all are best in our own areas. We all learn the fine nuances of, move 2 blocks this way. It's a different marketing area, the school, whatever it is all about. We're going to know those things. And that's why we do better in smaller areas. Many times I'll have clients that have done more than one transaction, and they will ask me, gee, can I help them 50 miles away? I will help them find a realtor because I know their personalities. I kind of know what they're after. We've got a long time relationship, so it's easier for me to reach out to different people. Perhaps you want a female, perhaps you want an older person, perhaps you want a veteran-friendly realtor, all those kind of things. I can help you with that. I would much rather make you a referral. And of course, we get paid for those referrals. I like to interview that agent myself and say, okay, here are the needs of these clients. I've worked with them many times. They're not impressed with, A, B, and C, but they have real specific needs. Do you think that'd be a good fit?
So if I'm working with you or if I'm working with someone else, do I sign a contract?
You would sign a buyer broker contract with me. And there has to be a term. It can be for a single showing. I want to show a 1, 2, 3 Maple. One time, you're only committed to me for that one time. Or I can set it up however we both agree that I would represent you as a buyer's agent for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Both parties have to agree to dissolve that in writing. Sometimes brokers do not release contracts until they're, terminated by date.
Something you might want to ask in advance about.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if I'm ready to buy a house. I mean, there's some things that I need to prepare. I know one of the things that I always talk about is creating a budget and making sure everything's within your budget. But do I need to get pre-qualified for a mortgage? What do I need to do?
Absolutely. And that could be through a mortgage company, a bank, a credit union. People many times will, start with wherever they do their banking. And you are free to look around without it punching your credit score because you're making a credit inquiry. We tell people if you're actively thinking about initiating a mortgage application, do not go out. This is not the time to purchase a new car, make any big purchases, make any large deposits, any large withdrawals. Everything needs to be a reflection of just your day-to-day expenses so that the lender can get a handle on what it costs you to, support your household every month so that they can get a better take on that.
My daughter, she probably kicked my butt for saying this, but when she was buying her house, her boyfriend deposited $100 in her bank account, and the mortgage company wanted to know where that $100 came from. It was it's crazy stuff.
And I think the lenders, they have a bit of a check sheet when they start working with people. The don't do this, don't do that. And I know that they always tell them, it's kind of a little insider joke. Everybody buys the new house, so they run out to Best Buy and they order all the new appliances, all the gadgets and gizmos. And we're asking them, no, you do not do that. You do that after you purchase, the day after, but don't make any kind of expenses, even though you are going to purchase those things. Everything has to be explained to that lender. Lending is very, very much controlled. The Fed's always looking at it. It is very precise process these days, not like it was a few years ago. There's a lot of oversight, and it stops people from making poor decisions, we hope.
As it should have been years ago.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's get into some of the jargon. So I'm going to give you a word, and you just give me a very simple answer for that term.
Okay.
Buying agent.
A buying agent represents just the buyer. You have no allegiance to the seller.
Selling agent would just be the reverse of a buying agent. So you would be working with the sellers and doing everything you can to help them sell the house.
Right.
So Barb, what is earnest money?
Earnest money is exactly what it sounds like. Earnest, sincere, means that you do intend to make a stab at a particular property that you desire to purchase it. You're willing to put some money forward to show that you're not going around bidding on 10 or 12 houses at one time and just hoping to get one of them. You have to get committed to that house, that property. And so you're going to put up some money. And if that deal doesn't work out through no fault of the buyer, say it's a lending problem, an appraisal shortage, whatever the problem would be, the inspection, dissatisfaction with the inspection, the buyer's entitled to get that money back.
Okay, let's go into inspection. So I would think everybody should get their home inspected, correct?
Well, I'm on the same page. I think that everybody should have their home inspected for undiscoverable things without an inspector. We don't know what's in the attic. We don't know a lot of things just by a walkthrough. And if nothing else, it just gives the new homeowner a kind of a checkoff list, things to watch for, things to be diligent about.
Or even peace of mind that everything's okay.
Absolutely. A lot of just education, good education on a home inspection. And of course, it's always to discover the thing that you wouldn't know, the blocked sewer, the attic mold, that sort of thing. Those are game changers, but for the most part, it's just kind of a nice checkoff list.
So I know that you can get a warranty on different things. Do you recommend a warranty, or is it?
I do. Those are great. They're affordable. And many times we just write it in on an offer to purchase that, especially maybe the inspection shows that the furnace is a little bit older, maybe nearing the end of its life. It just is a lot of peace of mind for both parties, and it's not a huge expense for the seller. That gives the buyer 1 year from the date of closing, and it's a minimal cost to call somebody out, and it has a lot of coverage, and you can get it simple or you can add as many extras as you want.
So realtor commission, how do you get paid?
In the state of Michigan, and this does vary around the country, the seller pays the commissions. And then we split that with the buyer's agent. That is stated in the MLS and the listings. It's stated up front how much the buyer's agent will be paid. The buyer's agency, I should say. It is always paid to the broker. Those divisions inside the brokerage. In the state of Michigan, the sellers do pay the commissions.
Okay, so I found the house that I want. We walk out the door and I'm saying, okay, Barb, I want it. We're going to put in an offer. Now, I know in Michigan, there's a bidding war, and I think that's going across the country because there's more buyers than sellers. So if I want to make sure that my offer is even considered, what are some of the things that I should do?
Higher down payment, so you could increase your down payment if you had more available monies. Sometimes we don't even have the highest offer. Sometimes it's just we've got the better terms. And the terms, much of the time on bigger down payment, that lets them know that you probably are going to have no problem making that come to the closing table. Sometimes you can give the seller occupancy at no cost. That helps them to make their move, and they're not trying to pay your new mortgage payment in the meantime. Makes it a little easier for them. I'm seeing this more and more. I don't like it, but I do see it where people are passing on the inspection. I personally think that is playing a little bit of Russian roulette. I would not ever advise a buyer to pass on an inspection, possibly make it a pass or fail inspection. And that's more to cover those big items, a furnace fail, a bad roof, mold in the attic type thing, and you can walk away. You get your earnest money back, but we're not going to go through a 40-page report and repair or negotiate for routine repairs, fixing a storm door, a burner on the stove doesn't work, that sort of thing. But I would still want a limited, I would always advise at least a limited inspection. But to enhance your chances, a bigger down payment, and obviously a price increase. And I guess you have to be very careful on those. You can get caught up, and people are paying a lot for houses. If it's a long-term purchase, you can probably afford to increase that purchase price a bit more. But if it's you're anticipating a family size change in the next few years or a job transfer or something, you need to be really careful that we don't overspend for these properties because they're adjusting, and we're seeing it every day. They're adjusting backwards.
That's crazy. I mean, I know when we sold my house when I got divorced. Well, first of all, we chose the offer with the largest down payment because we, wanted it to make sure that it went through.
Right.
But just that, people were offering more than I would have paid for my own house, so it was surprising how much people want something and that they're willing to.
They are. And I've had so many people say, we want to bid on this, which it's my job, if I'm representing the buyer, to advise them of all of those things that, you don't intend to stay that long. This is the average price. I do see a downturn coming. Sometimes you need to evaluate how desperate are you for a house. If you're in a safe place and you can commute to work or whatever, it's not the right time for everybody to buy a house. Perhaps if you sit back and wait a half a year, you can save more money. Or
I always look at, not everybody's meant to own a home. You don't need to get yourself in a situation where you're going to end up not being able to make the payment or something down the road. So you just have to make sure that it fits in your budget and that it's a good decision for you.
Right.
Because you're right. If you can save more and buy it another year or so down the road, it might be a better solution for you. So we're going to take a close right now, Barb. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you
That's
so
very
much.
helpful. How can somebody get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
Well, my cell number is 734-771-6950. And I answer that most all the time. I tell people if I don't call you back in 2 hours, call me because I never turn it off. And then my email is Barbara, Barbara, at Barbara Biskner, BISKNER.com. And I answer both all day long. And I've been doing this 20 plus years and I love it. And I don't expect I'll ever retire as long as I'm physically able. It's a great job and I make a lot of friends along the way.
But you got to retire someday, Barb. Just saying.
Well,
Got to retire someday.
Someday, maybe, but you
Someday.
know what? I just keep it to refer and repeat. I'm not out there looking for new people because we have a lot of great return clients. So it's awesome.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can reach me at paulachristine.com, or you can check out my website at paulachristine.com. Thanks again, Barb.